The first phenomenon is the ostrich effect. Imagine living in a time when every financial decision weighs heavily on your shoulders. You avoid checking your bank balance because you fear the harsh reality of accumulated expenses. This behavior, known as the ostrich effect, may seem harmless at first glance, but its repercussions are deep and complex. By ignoring negative information, you are actually prolonging anxiety and potentially worsening your financial situation. This effect manifests not only in personal finances, but in various aspects of life, such as health, where someone might avoid routine medical exams out of fear of discovering health problems, or in the workplace, where an employee ignores negative feedback to avoid dealing with their weaknesses. Burying your head in the sand is an illusion of safety, a temporary escape that can lead to devastating long-term consequences. Facing these fears and accepting feedback, although uncomfortable, is an essential step for personal growth and problem solving. The second is the spotlight effect. This phenomenon can lead to unnecessary anxiety and exaggerated self-criticism, impacting confidence and well-being. Imagine walking into a room full of people. Immediately, you feel that all eyes are on you, noticing every detail of what you're wearing, how you behave, or any small mistake you might make. This feeling, known as the spotlight effect, is an illusion that makes us believe we are the center of attention and constant judgment by others. The truth is, most people are too busy with their own concerns to pay that much attention to us. This distorted perception can generate paralyzing anxiety, making us avoid social situations or unnecessarily self-censor. By recognizing that the spotlight effect is more a creation of our mind than reality, we can begin to release the pressure we place on ourselves. Freedom comes from realizing that small mistakes and flaws are not as significant to others as we imagine. This understanding allows us to be more authentic and less worried about external judgment. The third is negativity bias. Consider a day when you received numerous compliments at work, but also a single-pointed critique. It's natural for your mind to fixate on the critique, overshadowing all the positive comments you received. This bias, although crucial for our ancestors' survival, can distort our perception of reality in the modern world. By paying more attention to negative experiences, we are programmed to give them more focus than they deserve. This tendency can affect our mood, self-esteem, and even daily decisions. Understanding that the human brain has this natural inclination can help us consciously counterbalance this tendency by focusing more on positive experiences and the lessons they bring. Reflecting on the positive aspects of the day are effective strategies to reprogram our minds and adopt a more balanced and optimistic view of life. Imagine you're at a restaurant with an extensive menu full of tempting dishes. Instead of feeling privileged with so many options, you start to feel overwhelmed and anxious. This phenomenon is known as the paradox of choice. When confronted with too many options, our ability to make a decision becomes paralyzed, and even after choosing, we may feel regret or doubt, questioning whether we made the best possible choice. This paradox isn't limited to restaurant menus. It permeates all aspects of modern life, from buying a car to selecting a TV show to watch. The overload of options can lead to increased anxiety and reduced satisfaction with the chosen option, since constant comparison highlights what we missed rather than what we gained. Simplifying our choices by limiting options and focusing on what truly matters can reduce this paralysis and increase overall satisfaction. Ambiguity is the fifth trap. Most people, when confronted with this situation, tend to choose the safe path, even if it means missing out on valuable opportunities. Risk aversion and fear of the unknown make us avoid decisions that don't have clear and guaranteed outcomes, even if those decisions could lead to greater rewards. This tendency manifests in various areas of life, from financial investments to career choices and personal relationships. By restricting ourselves to safe options, we may be limiting our potential and chances of success. The key lies in finding a balance between prudence and boldness, allowing us to explore new opportunities without being paralyzed by fear of uncertainty. Think of successful inventors and entrepreneurs who took risky decisions, facing the unknown to achieve great feats. Adopting a growth mindset and being open to uncertainties can lead to significant discoveries and accomplishments. Reciprocity is a psychological phenomenon that makes us feel obligated to return a favor or gift, functioning as a social mechanism that reinforces cooperation and trust among people. In everyday life, this can manifest in various ways, such as feeling compelled to invite someone to an event because they invited you first, or buying from a seller who offered you something for free. While reciprocity is an important element in human relationships, creating a sense of balance and fairness, it can also be exploited manipulatively. Companies and sellers often use this principle to encourage purchases, knowing that most people will feel obligated to reciprocate. Imagine how liberating it would be to recognize the intention behind an offer and decide whether or not to reciprocate based on your own criteria rather than just a sense of obligation. The herd effect is one of the worst traps. Imagine you're about to make an important choice, like buying a new smartphone or choosing a new diet, and you notice that most people around you are opting for a certain brand or dietary regimen. You feel a subconscious pressure to follow the same direction. This behavior is known as the herd effect, where the tendency to imitate others' actions becomes predominant, often leading us to abandon our own choices. Following the crowd can offer a sense of safety and validation, especially in uncertain situations. However, this conformity can lead to decisions that don't reflect your true needs or desires. For example, buying a popular product just because everyone is buying it might leave you dissatisfied if the product doesn't meet your personal expectations. Think about the importance of cultivating independent thought and confidence in your own decisions. Imagine how liberating it would be to make decisions based on a careful analysis of your own needs and desires, without being influenced by the majority's pressure. Have you ever looked back and noticed how much you've changed over the last 5 or 10 years? Your preferences, opinions, and even your personality might have undergone significant transformations. However, when we think about the future, we often fall into the end of history illusion, believing that who we are now is who we will be forever. This bias prevents us from recognizing that we are constantly evolving and that our future experiences and learnings will shape who we become. Underestimating the possibility of change can lead us to make decisions that don't reflect our true potential or to feel stuck in a fixed identity. When we accept that change is a natural part of life, we open space for continuous growth and adaptation. This perspective encourages us to be more open to new experiences, reevaluate our goals, and cultivate mental flexibility. Loss aversion is a cognitive bias where the fear of losing something has a stronger emotional impact than the possibility of gaining something of equivalent or greater value. Imagine you're faced with an investment opportunity. The potential for significant gains is clearly present, but all you can think about is the risk of losing the money you already have. This is a classic example of loss aversion, where the prospect of losing something we already possess weighs more heavily in our minds than the prospect of a potential gain. This bias is deeply rooted in human psychology and manifests in various areas of life, from financial decisions to career choices and personal relationships. Loss aversion can keep us stuck in our comfort zone, avoiding changes that, although risky, could bring great benefits. To overcome this bias, it's important to cultivate a mindset that values both risks and potential gains, evaluating decisions more balancedly. This can involve practices like strategic planning and careful analysis of the short and long-term consequences of our actions. Think about the freedom and potential that arise when you allow yourself to consider not only what could be lost, but also what could be gained. Last is the endowment effect. You know when you're cleaning your closet and find that old jacket you haven't worn in years? Even though it's out of fashion and taking up space, you hesitate to get rid of it. This behavior is a classic example of the endowment effect, where simply owning something makes us attribute greater value to it than it actually has. This bias can lead us to hold on to items that no longer serve a purpose simply because we feel an emotional attachment to them. Imagine freeing yourself from the endowment effect and adopting a more minimalist and conscious approach to belongings. Imagine the feeling of freedom and lightness that comes from letting go of items that no longer add value to your life, allowing new opportunities and experiences to fill that space. Imagine freeing yourself from the endowment effect and adopting a more minimalist and conscious approach to belongings. Imagine the feeling of freedom and lightness that comes from letting go of items that no longer add value to your life, allowing new opportunities and experiences to fill that space. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.